Hi guys, it's me Karen, and I've come to do a picture in the MouseGuard coloring book by David Petersen, and I'm going to be using my Inktense in the palette and of course the pencils too. And I've decided that I'm going to do this picture here of Piper. Piper is the little mouse here who goes out into the world to learn the language of birds and beasts. And she's a listener to learn their languages. So I'm going to go ahead and do this page here. And I might do that other page also, but we're going to do this one here first. So I'm going to set the camera up down below and get the nice angle so you can see what I'm doing. So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, we're down at an angle. Now I know that Piper here has a little red cape with a little red hood on it, so we have to come up with a red color. And I'm going to go in between like a cherry, a red, and the red tone that's in here. I'm not sure how red this is going to be. That's called Poppy Red. It probably is a good choice, but I'm going to take out a couple extra red ones. She is a little gray mouse. So we'll get out some grays, at least the one gray and a white I have in here. Don't know if I have another gray in here or not. What is this one? Neutral gray. I don't have a soft gray, but those gray tones will work. These are pussy willows, and they are brown, so we'll pull out a few extra browns just in case. Saddle brown and some lighter tones, tan and willow gas. We'll pull those out. We have green fronds, and I think I have enough green to put those in. We have blue water, probably enough blue there. And then I'll probably ink in the sky with some distress ink. Okay, like always, I will put down in the description box what colors I'm using. And these are the colors that are in this palette. So I'm going to go ahead and try the Poppy Red on. It's awfully bright. But, I mean, red's red, right? We'll put the other two reds down, Cherry and Chili Red, which are probably all going to be quite bright colored reds, on the little plastic mat over here. And we'll bring out a piece of white cardstock and check those colors out too. So we will see what all three of these reds look like. So we have a bright red there. This is Chili Red. That one's a little duller, and then we'll bring in the Poppy. Guess I'll go with the Poppy Red. It's not too bad. I'm going to put it on the palette over here so I can add a little bit more water to it, and then we will just lay it down. I'm going to be shading this with pencils, so get a nice shading going on in there. Just added a tiny bit of this brown in there with it, just to get it a little darker. Okay, we'll let her dry, at least her little cape dry. I have a rag here that I use just to wipe off any of the ink left in the brush. I'm going to go ahead and grab some of the, I'll probably bring this closer, natural brown on the palette over here, and see how brown that really is. There we go. Just kind of putting the darkest, when you grab it, in the darkest tones first, and then pulling it out into the lighter areas. And we'll do one over here. Okay, and then we'll do this one. Okay, now the heron up here is going to have a yellowish beak, so I think the mango is probably a good bet here. And we are going to, let's see, put the, maybe I should water this down a little more. It's kind of bright. Down on the beak. We'll put a little brown in here. Okay. Now the head of the bird is going to be white, and then it's going to come down into kind of a grayish brown and a bluish coloring. So, with that said, grayish bluish brown, I'm going to throw some grays down on this palette. So we have the Payne's gray, the neutral gray, and a smattering of white. Okay, then we're going to have kind of the lightest brown here, which is burnt yellow ochre and the neutral brown mixed together. Then we're going to throw a little white in that, and we come up with a nice tan. And we're going to do the bird's kind of shading here. That a little lighter. And we'll get more water in there. And then we need a little of the gray, so we're going to bring in some of those with the, so I just tapped them both in and put it in with the white. And we're going to add that in here. Just kind of blending all those colors together. Okay, we need a little blue, so I'm just going to pick up some of the, what is that, mid ultramarine into the white and make a blue tint. And we're going to do his wings in kind of the blue. And if you read the story, this is actually a female bird. When Piper goes out into the wild to learn the animals' languages, she runs into this bird, and it's during mating season, and the bird is calling for her mate. And Piper turns to leave because she doesn't want to disturb the birds. And she goes on to find other animals to try to learn their languages. So I'm just putting a darker gray down here in the wings. So I'm just picking up the grays, mixing them with a little bit of the white, but just kind of leaving it and going down the wings here, adding in a little bit of the color. Okay, we'll do the same on the other side. And we'll mix that, light up really good here, and just bring it down into these feathers. There. A little bit on her leg here. And her tail feathers in the back. Okay, now her feet are kind of a yellowish color, so we'll just go right back to the palette here. We'll pick up the same mango here, but we're going to add it into the brown. Should be able to pick that up, mix it pretty good, and then we'll just lay that down on her feet here. We'll pick up a little of the brown and just go around the bottom edge of these. And basically where they've given you the marks, just darken that side. Always remember that the Inktense will go down really dark, but it will lighten as it dries. So if you think you went overboard with it, most likely you didn't. Okay, so I'm going to let the birdie dry here, and we're going to use the grays to do a little Piper. We need to go in with the soft grays that we have. I may want to put a little more white on there. And we went in with, I have neutral and Payne's gray, and I'm going to put the Payne's gray over here. The neutral gray has got a little blue in it. Or the Payne's gray does. I gotta figure out which one. One of them had blue in it. Blue tone gray. Where's the grays here again? Neutral gray is over here. We'll put white next to that. Let's see what we get there. Okay. Payne's gray's got the blue. Neutral is just neutral. We're starting down in the dark. Around our sides. And I'm just going to bring it up. We'll see how that goes. Might be a bit dark, but that's okay. We're going to bring a little of that into her ears and her tiny little face. Down on her little feet here. Okay. I'm going to bring in some of this yellow into the cattails here, just to give it a little more dimension. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. We're going to let this dry and then we will be right back. Okay, we're mostly dry. I'm going to work on the grass here, and I got out 2 pencils, Oak and Fern. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of lay these down on the page since it's such a big area here. This is the Fern. And then I'm going to go in and throw some Oak, kind of where I think the shadowing might be. Okay, something in that line. And then just bring it up. And that's how we'll go. I must have gotten some blue on this somehow. Or the other one has it. So we're going to do that again. Can you see this part here? Fern in there. And we'll start at the top. And bring it up. So we're just going to do all of them that way. The Oak is down at the bottom. Anywhere else you want a piece of it. Hold on a second. Okay, and then we go in with the Fern on top and bring it up. And activate it. So basically, over and over again until they're all done. I'm going to throw a little of this Oak into the cattails too. I just kind of have to remember where I'm putting it because it's already dark. Throw in another color so it's another dimension to it. I'll do that on all 3 of those. I have to actually look these up and see what color these little spikes are on the tips of those. I don't recall them being there, but it's been a while since I've seen them, so let's see. Can we get a picture? But just plain old images. Computer is really slow. Okay, they kind of are brownish, greenish colored. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to kind of bring in the same color we're doing the grass. So we'll bring in the oak down at the bottom of it. When I do this one down here, you can actually see it. And then we'll put the fern up towards the top there. And mix those in there. Kind of like that. And we'll get some of this oak in here. I'm going to darken this one up a bit. There we go. And before I get too far into this, I'm going to do the water in the background. Now with this, we're going to take in a little of the sea blue. I put it on the pad here, and there's the neutral gray, or the Payne's gray next to it. I'm going to kind of mix the two together, kind of make a darker, kind of like a pond bluish gray color. I'm going to get a lot of water in there, because I kind of want a wash of it. Okay, and then we're just going to take it and put it in the background back here. It's probably where I got the blue on my brush for that blade of grass. It goes all the way down to the bottom. Probably should have gone bottom up and gotten it lighter at the top, but it just means I make it darker at the bottom, huh? It's okay if you touch the grass. Blue and green are complementary. I mean, you know, they work together, so it'll just match the one I made a boo-boo on. A little bit up here. Didn't want bright blue water. So we're just going to fill in this whole area. We'll put in some white and make like little ripples in the water. the water and not touch the grass. It's always the hardest part for me. Okay, I know that looks kind of willy-nilly, but once it dries, we'll fix that up. I'll get all the grass blades done. Her little scarf here is kind of cream colors, so I have a little bit of the white left here next to the brown. Let's see if we can't mix in some of that melon too, and get a light yellowish orange hue for that. There we go. Just a tiny bit more mango in it. All right. Yeah, when we get back, I'll have all the grass finished, and then we will work on the rest of the bird and some shading. Just to add a little dimension, I'm going to take some of the, what is this, racing green? Yeah, racing green is the dark green in the palette over here. In this one, this palette here, the one on the corner. And I'm just going to take it into some of the ones in the background. So just to darken those up a little bit. Maybe some in the front, but these guys in the back should be a little darker. So I thought I'd bring in some of that color. Darken up some of these guys in the back. Not all of them, just a few. And just very lightly do that. And on the second part, I'm going to do a little of that mango and mix it with some of this poppy red. Make it a little darker, and we're going to do a little bit of his eye here. Just in the background there, and we're going to add it also on the beak. And a little more water on the brush would be nice. There we go. Just to brighten up that beak color a little bit more. Okay. And she has her little staff thing here, so we're going to add a little bit of the orange into that, and we'll go over that with the brown. A little more of that color in her little scarf that comes down. It needs to be a little brighter, and we'll add a little of that on the leg too. Kind of make that a little different color from the grass down below. Okay, can add a little of that into the cattails too, just for fun. All right, and I'm pretty sure the rest of this is just going to be in pencil. So I'll put all this away and we'll get out the pencils. Okay, we're going to do the Polychromos. So I've got middle Cadmium Red, which I'm going to use to shade in her little cape area here. I'm really trying my hardest to get this to be a red and not a maroon, which is my color of choice. So we'll just shade in some of these areas here. What's nice about the Inktense and the Polychromos, you can really get a nice blend between the two, and you can always find a color to match. You can with the Prismas too, but these just go on the Inktense a little smoother, I think. Okay, we're going to do a little shading on her fur, and we've got the cool gray V1. I'm trying to remember if that's 6 or 4. I don't know. It's the dark one, and we're just gonna darken up her area here. On these particular mice, I don't put a bunch of fur on them. When I go in and I look at the way that they've colored these in his books, this is the way they do them, and I kind of like that, so I'm kind of staying with that look. I'm not saying anything about people who would like to put fur on them, because they look adorable with fur on them also. This is just the way I prefer to do them. I am looking for my white Prisma color, and I guess I will have to hunt for that in a minute. I'm going to take some green gold here and go into her scarf a little bit. And shade that up. I might go in there with a little ochre also. Get that a little better. We're also going to use the same color to go into some of the blades of grass and add a little of that color in here. This seems to be something I do a lot, is I'll put a color down somewhere and then I'll want to add it to the rest of the page somewhere. I don't know if that's a good thing, but that's what I end up doing a lot of. I don't ever plan the colors I put down. We're going to bring in some Chrome Oxide Green also into the grass. And just lay down some of that too in some areas. Just to darken up some of this. It's just here and there and everywhere. I'm sorry if I'm off screen. I can't remember where I put the camera. Things are a little off this week. My husband took the week off, so he's home, which is nice. He's got a little mini vacation. I'd always mix things like, oh, I have to do a little coloring, so I like it a little quiet in the house and doesn't end up that way. Okay, so that's the green. The gray, I brought in browns. I have burnt sienna and walnut brown, and we are going to do up her little stick here. So that is walnut brown, burnt sienna, and we're we're also going to add some of that into her scarf here. Okay, we're going to take some of this Walnut Brown and kind of give her a shadow on her foot. So after all, she is standing on this cattail. And I know she's got a little hand up here somewhere. I'm going to shadow that area. Put a little shadow here, and we're going to actually add some of this around her ears too. Bring a little in on just the edges of her hood in here. Okay, I'm going to take the sienna, burnt sienna, and go down the leg here in the shadowed areas. And just accent them a little more. Okay, and we're going to work on his beak also. We'll put a little of this burnt sienna in here, around the eye. Okay, this is the walnut. We're going to do a little darkness under the chin here. And on these little tips of these wing feathers down here. Okay, I'm going to take some of the gray tones that I brought out, and we're going to darken up some shadows in this area of his wing. Here on the top, I want to just get that a little darker. So just on the edge and then bring it in. Just kind of following where he's got his shadow lines. Okay. And then coming down this side, just under these feathers. We'll darken these tips and bring it up. And we'll do the same on the other side. We'll bring in a lighter color just to blend those into the Inktense a little better. Then we'll bring in the white and help it out a little bit more. Do some of these fluffs up here too. And then on his chest area, I'm going to go between the feathers, leaving the feathers the same color that they are, but making a shadow in between them. Okay, we're on the other side. Back to a darker color that swings behind to be darker. Okay. And I am going to look for my white pencil. We're going to use the white pencil to add a little definition up here in the eyes. This area is pretty white on the bird. And we can bring it down in here. And the white will turn this a little grayer. Which is pretty cool because we needed it a little grayer for the bird. And these feathers down here, brighten those up. And he's got some over here. Just whiten this up a little bit. A little fluff on his feet, we can lighten that up. And in here, just kind of want to blend those two grays together a little more. And going up on the top of his wing up here. you kind of just play with this until you get the colors you want. And I'm going to darken his eye up a little bit. With the black, if I can find that. And this will work. Adding a few extra little lines in here. Okay, we get a Posca pen. Can't find that. Yep. Put a little dot in his eye. On her cape, we're going to add a little of the white here too, just to highlight some areas. We'll go back in with the red. Lessen sharpness on those. And then, let's see, I have to do a background in here. And I have to touch up this water a little bit. So let's see what we can do with the white. You use it to lighten up here. I missed a whole spot there, didn't I? I'm going to darken it down at the bottom too, so we'll just bring in some of this. And make it darker down at towards the bottom. This is the blue sea or whatever. Like I said, I'll leave all the information on the colors I use down below. So, just made it darker down in this area. Looks better already. We'll find the mix. Some of these areas that I didn't get painted very well. Okay. I'll touch it up with some ink too. And our little guy's tail. Pepper's tail is going to be gray along with her fur, so we'll go in with the cool gray. This one's 4. And just touch some color in there. A little more on her feet. I could play around doing this forever. I want to get her ears a little lighter on the top. Just gonna bring in some white. And then I have to darken up that line here. This is just a Faber-Castell Pitt Pen S. And there we go. All right, so I will get some ink out and we will do the background. All right, we're going to be using the Stormy Sky to go with the darker color down here. And I need to find sticky notes. My favorite friend. Hopefully I have enough here. Only need 2 at a time. Looks like I missed a blade of grass up here at the top. So we're going to move it so you can just see the top. I will have to get that colored in. Crap, if I do that with water, I can't do that side of the... I'm going to color this one. That blends good enough. Add just a little more of this over on that side. And we'll pretend. Okay, we're going to put the sticky note right on the line here. Do half of this at a time. I don't think I have a whole. Do I have more? I have one more sticky note. So we can go across. But we can't go down. So we'll do this area first. I'm going to try to avoid the little bird's head because he's obviously not blue. I'm going to ink up 1/2 of this pad. I will test it out on a separate sheet of paper. That's the color I want. So we'll do it again. I'm going to start on the yellow paper. Okay. Very lightly. Notice I'm not pushing down too hard. And I'm just going to bring that blue in lightly. Kind of go over it a few times. We'll go across the page. We'll bring it down lightly. Barely touching the page here. Okay, out here. Circular motion kind of, and we're going to bring it down just a little bit, lightly. Oh, I'm sorry, someone's going to mow their lawn. Hopefully you can't hear it. Very lightly down into this area here. Just kind of going over it a few times. This book, that's interesting. Takes the ink interestingly. Okay, so we're going to bring it down here. We'll take this up and bring one across over here. A little more ink on just that corner. Start out here again and bring the color in. I'm going to bring it down so it's very lightly. Just using this corner here. I'm trying not to touch this, so it's just that corner. Very lightly bringing it down, very gently bringing it into the color. I also want to go down here so I can go into the blue. There's not very much ink on this at all, but enough. Because you don't need a whole bunch of ink. You want a bit of color, but you don't want it a big blue blob. Since this is almost the same color as what I have going down here, I can bring it right into that blue and I don't have to worry about that. Okay. And again, like I said, there's barely any ink on this at all. If you see, there's very light. And you can still get a color going on there. So if you bring it in with almost no ink on there, you can finish that part up. These are very pigmented, so if you do want to do a dark corner, all you have to do is go over it like twice. I did a little too much over here, but that's okay. It'll dry a little lighter than that. And if I want, I can't remember if this paper does well with that or not. I'm sorry, I'm being attacked by a cat. He's tickling me. He wants pets. I've not paid attention to him in like, I don't know, 4 minutes. Okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to put a little water up here and we're going to see if this paper picks up the ink like the other pages do. It does a little bit. So we're going to put a little bit of color where I goof, or water, not color. Lift some of that color with the water. I'm going to do that across the top. I'm not going to do it down in here, but just across the top since I did it over there. And we'll get kind of a cloud action or something going on here in our sky. Give it a little texture. Yep, that's a lot of water, but let me pick it up quickly, so there we go. Let's see if we can do that. I put a little of the distress ink down here in the water, and I'm going to spray it too. This will only pick up the distress ink. It will not pick up the Inktense. Just to let you know. See if we can get that lifted a little bit better. On some paper, you'll get it on the outside there. Whoops. On some paper, we're going to get that wet and kind of blend it in. The distress ink will lift up in a few seconds, and on some paper, you have to wait like 10 seconds. That's not going to let that bother me. So, that is the rest of our picture all finished. I might do a tiny bit of shading on the cattails here, just in their darkest areas with the walnut. But other than that, I'm calling this done. I will take a picture after it's dry and let you see how it looks. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in my next video. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye now. Take care.